Hello, Chelsea fans. Welcome back to the Blues Report, and remember to subscribe, then enjoy your news. Let's dive in. Chelsea's training session ahead of Brentford. September 13th, 2025. The morning sky over Cobham carried a soft autumn glow, the kind of weather that balances crisp freshness with the quiet promise of approaching chill. On the eve of Chelsea's West London derby against Brentford, the air at the training ground was both charged and measured. Charged because the players knew how much this fixture mattered, and measured because their preparation had been carefully built up throughout the week. The 2025/26 season was still young, but Chelsea were already beginning to carve out an identity as a new-look side, brimming with youthful dynamism and tempered by carefully added experience. The gates at Cobham opened early, long before the first whistle of the session. Staff busied themselves setting up cones, small nets, resistance poles and GPS vests, while goalkeepers worked quietly on warm-up routines with their gloves tucked tightly and balls lined along the 6-yard box. The smell of freshly cut grass mixed with the faint aroma of coffee drifting from the staff room, and one by one, Chelsea's squad emerged in their navy blue training kits. Arrival and warm-up leading the group was Cole Palmer, whose transformation from a promising winger into a central creative hub had been one of the club's success stories. At his side trotted Estevao, the Brazilian prodigy whose arrival had already sparked excitement throughout West London. Estevao's light-hearted chatter, mixed with the effortless tricks he showed even before training formally began, drew admiring smiles from his teammates. Behind them came Alejandro Garnacho, still fresh in Chelsea colours after his headline-making transfer. Determined to cement himself as both a star and a workhorse, Garnacho carried an intensity about him that morning. Estevao and Pedro soon followed, joking as they stretched, two strikers with different styles but one shared aim: to lead Chelsea's attacking line with menace. The warm-up began with dynamic stretches led by the conditioning coaches. High knees, short sprints, hip rotations, and light ball touches gradually brought rhythm to the group. GPS trackers monitored every step. Enzo Fernandez directed traffic even in warm-up, pointing, gesturing, demanding teammates stay sharp. His presence was a constant reminder that standards were never to slip, even before a single pass had been played. Tactical focus, building out from the back. The first major drill focused on ball progression. Chelsea's coaches, with diagrams pinned to their clipboards, designed exercises that emphasized how the team would build from the back under Brentford's notorious high press. Levi Colwill, Fukando Bounanotte, and Trevoh Chalobah rotated in central defensive positions, tasked with finding clean passes through tight spaces. Wide outlets like Malo Gusto and Joao Hato received under pressure, tasked to feed midfielders quickly before being closed down. Enzo dropped deep to collect, while Moises Caicedo pressed higher, rehearsing the pivot partnership that had become Chelsea's engine. The drill intensified as coaches added Brentford-style markers, staff members and academy players instructed to press ferociously. At first, the ball escaped them cleanly, but when mistakes crept in, an intercepted pass here, a heavy touch there, the coaches blew their whistles and reset. Colwill barked orders, ensuring composure. Buonanotte's elegance with the ball stood out. He resisted challenges calmly before switching play wide to Hato, who hit measured diagonals toward Palmer and Estevao. The rhythm improved, the press broken more often, and applause followed each successful sequence. Attacking drills, sharpening the edge. Once the defensive foundations were set, attention turned to the attack. Cones and mannequins were arranged to simulate Brentford's compact defensive block. Chelsea's attackers rehearsed combinations designed to unlock those lines. Palmer drifted into central spaces, dictating tempo. Garnacho hugged the left, ready to cut inside with his right foot, while Estevao roamed the right flank, blending flair with decisiveness. Pedro played as a false nine, dropping deep to link with midfield, while Garnacho offered a contrasting physical presence to stretch the back line. The drills revolved around speed. Quick 1-2s, third man runs, and diagonal balls in behind. Garnacho's sharpness was a highlight. In one sequence, he beat a mannequin defender with a feint, darted inside, and unleashed a curling shot that whistled just over the top corner. Palmer applauded, then reminded him of positioning for the next phase. Estevao provided his own moment of brilliance, receiving a lofted ball with a dead-stop control that drew gasps before flicking it with the outside of his boot into Delap's stride. The striker finished emphatically, low and powerful past the keeper. Confidence rippled through the session. Even in practice, goals lifted spirits. Midfield battles Chelsea's midfield core, Enzo Caicedo and the versatile Carney Chukwuemeka, spent part of the session in small-sided duels. The drill was designed to mimic Brentford's second ball dominance, where aerial knockdowns and quick turnovers often decided matches. Balls were launched high into congested areas, and the midfielders were told to scrap, win possession, and immediately transition into attack. Enzo's anticipation stood out. He read bounces quicker than anyone, cushioning balls into his control before distributing. Caicedo, all energy and timing, was relentless in tackles, while Chukwuemeka's strides carried the ball forward with elegance. Their chemistry was growing, and watching from the sidelines, the coaches nodded in approval. Goalkeeper's separate world, meanwhile, the goalkeepers endured their own punishing session. Đorđe Petrović threw himself across the grass repeatedly as high-velocity shots flew from close range. Robert Sanchez worked on commanding the box, claiming crosses under pressure from teammates who jostled him with padded poles. Each save was met with grunts of encouragement, a fraternity unique to those who guard the posts. Later, they joined the full squad for tactical scrimmages, where their distribution under pressure was tested. With Brentford's aerial threat in mind, the keepers were drilled to choose between risk and safety, play short under pressure, or launch long to bypass the press. Scrimmage. Simulating Brentford, the session culminated in an 11-a-side scrimmage. One team wore full training bibs, representing Chelsea's likely starting 11. The other played the role of Brentford, tasked to mirror their pressing and physical intensity. Immediately, the Brentford side pressed aggressively, hunting in packs. Chelsea's ball circulation was tested. Palmer dropped deep to support build-up. Estevao provided width, and Garnacho constantly ran at defenders. The midfield duel was fierce, but gradually Chelsea's patterns began to find cracks. One move epitomized the day's work. Hincapié played out under pressure to Chilwell, who found Enzo between the lines. Enzo pivoted, fed Palmer, who released Estevao wide. The Brazilian's acceleration burned past his marker, and his cross was met by Garnacho, arriving late at the back post for a confident finish. Teammates mobbed him. Though it was only training, the moment carried the energy of a real match. On the next play, Delap bullied his way between two defenders, winning a header from a Sanchez long ball. Joao Pedro latched onto the knockdown, slipped through on goal, and finished calmly. The coaching staff clapped, pleased with the variety of Chelsea's attacking options. Final words and cool down. As the sun began its descent, the whistle signaled the close of the scrimmage. Players gathered in a circle, sweat dripping, lungs heaving, but minds focused. The staff delivered reminders: composure under pressure, discipline in transitions, aggression in duels. Brentford would not be easy, but Chelsea had prepared meticulously. Cool-down stretches followed, yoga-style routines to prevent tightness, light jogs around the pitch, and ice baths waiting inside. Some players lingered, Garnacho practicing extra shots, Estevao juggling a ball with a carefree grin, Palmer chatting quietly with Enzo about passing patterns. These small moments carried just as much weight as the drills, symbols of a squad eager to grow together. By evening, Cobham was quiet again, the grass bearing the marks of boots and tackles, the air carrying the faint hum of anticipation. Tomorrow, Stamford Bridge would roar for the derby, but today had been about preparation, focus, and belief. Chelsea had trained not only their bodies, but their unity. As they left the ground, one thing was clear. They were ready to face Brentford, ready to prove that this season's Chelsea was a team of both promise and steel.